You're being lied to about success. Not a little. Not by accident. Systematically. And the worst part is, you probably believed it because the lie sounds responsible, safe, smart. It sounds like the kind of advice good people give. Work hard. Be patient. Stay humble. Wait your turn. And if that feels familiar, good, because that might be exactly why you still feel behind. Most people don't realize what's actually happening until years of their life are already gone, until they've burned through their energy, their confidence, their best years. And by then, they're not asking how to succeed anymore. They're asking what happened. You know this feeling. You're trying. You're not lazy. You're not sitting around doing nothing. You're watching videos, reading books, saving money, learning skills, trying to become more disciplined, trying to stay positive, trying to do the right thing. And yet somehow, your life still feels like it's moving in slow motion. You look around and see people getting ahead. Some are less talented than you. Some are less disciplined than you. Some don't even seem that smart. But they're winning. And you're still building, still preparing, still figuring it out, still telling yourself your time will come. Listen, that phrase right there has trapped millions of people. My time will come. Maybe, but maybe not, because time does not automatically reward effort. That's one of the biggest lies you were ever sold. Effort matters, yes, but effort alone, no. Plenty of people work hard for decades and never escape survival mode. Plenty of people stay loyal, obedient, patient, and exhausted and still end up broke, resentful, and confused. So why? Because success is not just about how hard you work. It's about what game you're playing, what rules you believe, what room you're standing in, what incentives are controlling your decisions, and whether you've been trained to build your life or just maintain somebody else's system. Here's what nobody tells you. You can do everything you were taught to do and still lose. You can get the degree, show up early, stay respectful, avoid risk, be consistent, be dependable, be realistic, and still stay average forever. Not because success is fake, because the formula they gave you was incomplete. Actually, let's be more honest. It was incomplete for you, but very useful for the system. School told you that if you follow instructions well, you'll be rewarded. Real life rewards leverage, visibility, courage, negotiation, timing, and value creation. That's not the same thing. School rewards compliance. Life rewards usefulness at scale. School rewards correct answers. Life rewards solving expensive problems. School rewards staying inside the lines. Money often flows to the people willing to redraw the lines. This is where people get it wrong. They think the world is mostly fair and linear. They think effort goes in, rewards come out. Like a vending machine. I worked hard. Where's my result? That's not how real life works. Real life is messy, non-linear, biased, uneven. One decision can save you 5 years. One bad environment can waste 10. One relationship can open doors that raw talent never could. One belief can quietly keep you broke while you call it being humble. Let me explain. You were probably taught to admire hard work, and you should. But nobody explained the difference between hard work that builds assets and hard work that just keeps you tired. Those are not the same. One creates freedom. The other creates dependency with better branding. A nurse can work brutally hard. A construction worker can work brutally hard. A delivery driver can work brutally hard. A teacher can work brutally hard. And many do. Harder than most of the internet millionaires talking about mindset. But the market does not pay based on effort. It pays based on leverage, scarcity, demand, and replaceability. That sounds harsh, because it is. And it's also true. If your income stops the moment you stop working, you do not have freedom. You have a job. Maybe a decent one, maybe an honorable one, maybe even a respected one, but not freedom. And too many people confuse respectable with strategic. Now pay attention. This is where the lie gets dangerous. Because once you believe hard work is enough, you stop asking smarter questions. Questions like, is this work building anything? Is this skill valuable in the real market? Am I becoming harder to ignore or just easier to use? Am I solving a real problem or just completing tasks? Am I learning how money moves or only how to earn permission? See the difference? One mindset creates dependence. The other creates power. And it gets worse. Because the lie about success is not just external. It becomes internal. After enough years, people start policing themselves. They start calling ambition greed, calling risk irresponsibility, calling visibility arrogance, calling confidence ego, calling strategy manipulation. Why? Because if you can be trained to feel guilty for wanting more, you will settle for less without resistance. That is one of the cleanest ways the system controls people. Not with chains, with moral confusion. You start thinking the noble thing is to suffer quietly, to work hard and never ask for more, to be grateful and never demand value, to stay authentic and never learn how attention works, to stay humble and never develop authority, to stay safe and never leave a weak environment. And then you wonder why your life isn't changing. Here's the thing. You do not get rewarded for potential. Nobody pays for your hidden greatness. Nobody funds your good intentions. Nobody promotes the version of you that only exists in your head. The world responds to what is visible, useful, and real. That's why someone less talented can beat you. Because they acted. They shipped. They learned the game. They got in rooms. They asked. They negotiated. They made themselves legible to the market, while you were waiting to be ready. That readiness obsession has destroyed more dreams than failure ever did. You think you need more confidence. No. A lot of the time, you need more exposure to reality. Confidence is often just evidence stacked over time. You do the thing, you survive the discomfort, you get feedback, you improve. Then confidence comes. Not before. But most people were trained backwards. They want certainty first, then movement. Life rarely works like that. Usually, movement creates clarity, not the other way around. So why are you still stuck? Probably because some part of you is still trying to win a game designed by people who don't benefit from your freedom. That sounds dramatic. But look closely. Who benefits if you stay a passive consumer? Who benefits if you only know how to follow? Who benefits if you're too afraid to sell, build, speak, lead, or create? Who benefits if you think financial intelligence is not your thing? Who benefits if you spend your best years chasing approval instead of learning power? It's not a conspiracy. It's incentive. And incentives run the world. Companies want attention. Schools want compliance. Employers want reliability. Algorithms want addiction. Status culture wants performance. Consumer culture wants insecurity. Everybody wants something from you. The question is, what do you want from yourself? Because if you don't answer that, the world will answer for you. And usually, the answer is small. Be realistic. Get comfortable. Don't ask too many questions. Stay busy. Stay distracted. Buy little rewards to cope with a life you secretly don't want. That's the trap. Not poverty alone, not failure alone. Numbness. That quiet, dead feeling where you're functioning on the outside and disappearing on the inside. And let's be honest, a lot of people don't actually want success. They want the image of success. They want the aesthetic, the quotes, the routines, the productivity tools, the identity of being on the journey. But when it's time to be misunderstood, to be inconvenient, to say no, to leave people behind, to look inexperienced, to risk looking foolish, to start before applause, they freeze. Because real change costs. It costs comfort. It costs belonging. It costs your old identity. Sometimes it costs certain friendships. Sometimes it costs the story you are telling yourself about who you are. Now you might be thinking, so what? Hard work doesn't matter? No, that's not the point. Hard work matters a lot. But hard work without direction becomes self-punishment. Discipline without strategy becomes a cage. Patience without urgency becomes delay. Humility without self-respect becomes invisibility. You need all of it. Effort, strategy, skill, leverage, exposure, taste, courage, adaptability. Not just one. That's the truth reveal. Success is not mainly about being the hardest worker in the room. It's about becoming too valuable, too aware, and too strategically positioned to stay ignored. That is different, very different. The game changes when you understand that success is less about deserving and more about alignment. Are your actions aligned with the results you say you want? Because many people say they want wealth, but their habits are built for comfort. They say they want freedom, but they avoid responsibility. They say they want respect, but they fear standing alone. They say they want more money, but they never study markets, sales, negotiation, or human behavior. They say they want a different life, but they keep protecting the mindset that created the current one. Listen carefully. You cannot build a new life with a nervous system addicted to familiarity. That's why people self-sabotage, not because they're stupid, because the familiar feels safe, even when it's painful. So they keep repeating versions of the same year. Different calendar, same patterns, same excuses, same fear dressed up as timing. This is where it changes. You want practical steps? Good. Stop measuring yourself by effort alone. Measure by output, by skill growth, by opportunity creation, by how often you place yourself in situations where something can actually happen. Busy is not the same as effective. Stop worshiping information. Information is everywhere. You do not need another 50 clips about success if you haven't acted on the last 5 things you learned. You are not confused. You are overloaded and undercommitted. There's a difference. Pick one valuable direction, not 10. One. One skill you can monetize. One problem you can learn to solve. One platform where you can build proof. One offer. One body of work. One lane long enough to compound. Because scattered effort feels productive, but it kills momentum. Next, audit your environment. Who do you spend time with? What do they normalize? What do they laugh at? What do they fear? What have they settled for? Your environment is not just people. It's your inputs, your phone, your room, your habits, your default conversations, your digital diet. If your environment keeps rewarding distraction, comfort, and emotional weakness, your ambition will keep losing oxygen. You do not rise above your environment very often. Usually, you slowly become it. Then, learn value creation. This is non-negotiable. If you want more money, become useful in a way that is visible and hard to replace. Learn to sell. Learn to write. Learn to communicate clearly. Learn to solve specific problems. Learn how business actually works. Learn why people buy. Learn how trust is built. Learn what makes someone easy to recommend. You do not need to become fake. You need to become effective. Those are not the same. Then, stop hiding behind perfection. Perfection is often procrastination with a better reputation. Put your work out. Send the message. Make the call. Post the video. Pitch the service. Apply for the opportunity. Ask for the rate. Start before it's elegant. Because messy action teaches faster than private overthinking ever will. And one more thing. Build proof, not fantasies. Don't just say you're disciplined. Show it in your work. Don't just say you're serious. Show a trail of finished things. Don't just say you're valuable. Make it obvious. Proof changes how the world sees you. More importantly, it changes how you see yourself. Now let's deal with the mindset piece, because this matters too. You need to stop romanticizing struggle. Struggle is not automatically noble. Sometimes struggle is just uncorrected stupidity. Doing the same weak strategy for years is not admirable. It's avoidance. Take feedback faster. Adjust faster. Detach your ego from old methods faster. The market does not care how sincere you are. It responds to clarity and value. And yes, that can feel brutal, but it's also liberating, because once you stop taking it personally, you can start learning faster. Here's the thing nobody wants to admit. A lot of success comes from becoming the kind of person who can tolerate reality, not fantasy, reality. Reality that your current habits may be weak. Reality that some of your beliefs came from broke people. Reality that you may be loyal to routines that are not serving you. Reality that you may be wasting energy trying to look good instead of becoming dangerous. Dangerous in a good way. Focused, skilled, calm, hard to manipulate, hard to distract, able to delay pleasure, able to think clearly, able to move without applause. That kind of person becomes hard to stop, not because the world suddenly becomes fair, but because they stop playing blind. So let me say it plainly. You were lied to about success. You were told that if you kept your head down, followed instructions, and worked hard enough, life would eventually reward you. Sometimes it does. A lot of times, it doesn't. Not because you're cursed, not because success is fake, because the world rewards more than effort, and you were never properly taught the rest. You need strategy. You need leverage. You need courage. You need awareness. You need skill. You need positioning. You need the ability to separate comforting lies from useful truth. And above all, you need to stop waiting for permission. No one is coming to officially announce that it's your turn now. No one is going to hand you certainty. No one is going to rescue your potential from your excuses. No one is going to live the cost of your ambition except you. That's the harsh part, and also the beautiful part. Because once you see the game clearly, you stop begging life to be fair. You start becoming effective. Now you know the truth. So the real question is not whether the lie was real. It was. The real question is this. Now that you can see it, are you still going to live like you don't?